Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the GuideTech podcast. Today we're doing episode number 11. Today I'll be co-hosting along with Logan Meaux, and we actually have a new face in the podcast, and he's actually going to be our new podcast host with us, Hunter Runge from Whiskey Sloughs. Hunter, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, so my name's Hunter. I am the owner and CEO one of the owners and CEO of Whiskey Sloughs here in Nebraska, and I handle everything on our business's back end for the company.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things about bringing Hunter into this podcast is Hunter's business experience, his business acumen, his understanding about running the back end of an outfitter. And so we wanted to bring him in here so that everyone could hear personally from an outfitter himself who understands the business. And it's not just me and Logan talking hypothetically, even though Logan himself has ran an outfitter, P-Row outfitter down in Louisiana with his father. So yeah, today we're going to dive into Hunter's story and kind of just hear how they got started, where they're at now, and then later in next episodes we'll be covering different topics and really niching down. So Hunter, I want to hear like kind of where y'all got started, and like how Whiskey Sloughs originated as an outfitter.
Well, it all kind of started as a pipe dream, really, if I'm being honest. It was four dudes. We all love hunting together. I mean, skipping class, skipping work. If it was a good snow day, calling the boss saying, "Hey, guess what? It's not going to be me today. I better find someone else because I'm going hunting." That's how we all started. I mean, if you could be in the field, we were going to be there. And we started off taking all of our friends and our family hunting, and just getting everybody out, like getting them that experience of getting to see Nebraska and all these cool places we could hunt. And then it turned into, we started running day hunts, saying, we take you guys out for X amount of dollars to hunt for a day. And about 3 years ago, we ended up, we were starting to get a little tired of the day hunts because you can only control so much when you're just hunting. And for clients who pay good money to go do this kind of stuff, it's about more than that. It's about the experience. It's about from the second they arrive in your camp to the second they leave your camp. So we decided that we wanted to step further and go into an all-inclusive with lodging and meals and bird cleaning, and where we literally can hand tailor the entire experience. And all that really started about 3 years ago with the purchase of our Platte River property. When that property came available and that purchase was something that was brought to the property was something that was brought to our attention. We all had a meeting and we were kind of talking about the direction and the future of this company. And we sat down and said, if we all get this, we got to go. Like there is we can't just ease into it. We got to jump straight off the cliff and go into business like full on, with a big mortgage payment and everything that comes with buying, that much of a property. And, we made it happen. And sure enough, Justin dropped out of school. Grant quit his job. Sam quit his job. I stayed in school, but I did it online. I switched to all online. And the rest is history, man. In the last 3 years, we started off by running limited hunts. We ran duck and goose, teal and dove, snow goose, Canada goose the first year with a couple turkey clients, to this last year we ran a full season of everything from September to May 31. And this year we just bought our new lodge with our new property, and now we're kind of jumping off the deep end. We're going to be running doubles and be able to just expand that much more.
That's awesome, man. Well, very cool. Yeah, so I've actually had the honor of hunting with Hunter from when they were just running day trips and bringing family and friends. And it's been a joy, I guess, to just see them embrace change and cast a vision, structure their business, and build it into what it is today. And I view it as a highly successful outfitter, and I think it's due to the people that are behind the business themselves. Hunter, I know you have multiple roles within your business. Like you mentioned, you have four co-owners, and then you have several employees underneath that as well that help seasonally, stuff like that throughout the year. I just want to hear what those roles are that those people have. I know co-owners, a lot of the times can butt heads. A lot of times partnerships can be difficult. But y'all have done a good job at maintaining that structure and stuff. And so I just want to hear like the kind of roles, responsibilities that everyone plays at Whiskey Sloughs.
Yeah, I'll start with myself, probably the easiest. I handle my job title is CEO, CFO. I handle everything from the management standpoint. I sit up kind of at the top and I check on day to day. I create schedules. I assign tasks. I move the budget around. I do all the accounting, all the financing, the marketing, all of that kind of back end administrative stuff that goes for the day to day of the business, that helps the business move forward. Kind of in my opinion, like in the shadows. You don't directly see the cause or the results of my work all the time, but like every day the business is a step further than it was. Grant's role, is client. He's the client manager. He handles everything from the client for booking clients. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you need help, Grant's your guy. He also calls all of our clients. He's the head of our call center. He anything to do with calling and booking and everything like that, it's all Grant. Justin, he's going to be our land operations manager. So he goes through, he talks to all of our landowners. He's doing it year round, making sure all of our properties are set up. We hunt on about 100,000 acres, and that's a lot of property that we work through. And it takes constant contact and constant communication to keep up with that many landowners to do our business the way we like to do business. And so he handles all of that. Any of our land management projects and any of our deep construction projects he gets in on. Sam, he's like our COO. He handles everything on the day-to-day basis for operations. I mean, he's overseeing a lot of the employees. He oversees all the projects that I move down to him. And he kind of the brunt labor guy of the group. He's the one that loves to get his hands dirty and get out there. Like right now, while I'm filming this podcast, he's actually buffing out one of our trailers in 97-degree heat. He's having the time of his life while he's doing it. And then we have 4 employees that are on with us. We have 3 guides, and 2 of them that are working for us right now are they're going to be guides in the fall, but they're just like labor assistants right now, just working on projects from in the day to day, getting blinds ready, getting properties managed, and all of that. And then we have a social media and marketing manager, a graphic designer who works for us. My brother, he handles all of our socials and does all of our graphic design, and he also helps Grant on the call center. And then James Dakin also helps Grant on the call center too. And then we have a guide, and we'll have a chef this fall coming on. We're still looking for a chef to hire, but we'll have 3 full-time guides and the chef, and then my brother. So we got ourselves a crew, to say the least.
Yeah, growing really fast. I mean, I think if you're listening right now, you're probably thinking, wow, this guy that really has a handle on all the roles and different components of his business. But I imagine, Hunter, it didn't start out that way, huh?
Oh no, it started out with 4 people with their heads buried, basically. Like it took a lot of fighting, took some yelling. The funny part is about the whole thing with our business is us 4 owners in our respective jobs. Nobody chose this. Like, I didn't choose to be the CEO and sit up at the top. Grant didn't choose to be the client. We all just like naturally fell into these roles during our first year of our full-time business. We just kind of naturally just jumped in and said, this is what I like to do. This is what I'm good at. So this is what I'm going to do. And now that honestly is why we flow so smoothly now, is everybody respects each other's position, and everybody knows that even though we have different job titles and different levels in the company, we're all the same. We all sit the same. We all are doing what we do best for our company.
Very cool. And again, like it's been an honor to get to see that develop, because when I went there the first time, it was like just 4 dudes trying to get this thing moving in the right direction. And now it's something that each person, like you said, Hunter, obviously has their specific roles. And when you're there, you see it. You see that an owner managing that role. But when it comes to that, I know you're sitting at the top as the CEO, and this is something we've talked about in the past. You talked about the yelling, the hard times, the things that are tough. It takes a company culture, because a company doesn't push itself forward. It's the people that push the company forward that are within it.
You're exactly right.
Your way of shaping that culture with the company, did the culture just come out itself naturally, just like y'all fell into the roles, or is that something that you intentionally planned to make sure that you shape the culture a specific way?
So we're all one big family here. Whether you are the low end of the totem pole who cleans the lodge, or me at the top end, I don't look down on people. People who work for me, I don't look at them as my employees. I look at them as my friends. And I do my best to be just a good friend, a good buddy as much as I can until I absolutely have to step in and be a boss. And you know what? I think it also comes back to respect. We all respect each other. We all know our positions. And then, like our employees, yeah, we're all friends, but they respect the fact that my job is to tell them what to do, that I am their boss. But we don't like to look at it in a more traditional business sense, because we're not a traditional business, to be honest with you. But the biggest thing that I found to uphold culture, and I said it in another one of our interviews, was I tell every one of our employees that you guys matter. Everything you guys do, whether it's cutting down a tree and moving it out of the way in the yard so the lawnmower can get over easier. I mean, as small as that, all the way up to designing one of our massive duck blinds that we're going to go put in, they matter, and everything they do has a purpose that helps this company just get one step further. And it doesn't matter, what you're doing or how long you're doing it or whatever, how fast you work or, your efficiency. None of that matters. What matters is that they know that they matter.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm so glad that you think about it that way, because not everybody does really in business in general. And a lot of people think that the way to get shit done is to treat their employees like shit, and it just doesn't ever work out. So my question to you, and something that I've seen you do really well in the past, in person, whether it be at a trade show, but when you need to kind of have a conversation with one of your guys about how they can step up, how do you approach that conversation and make sure that, yes, we're friends, but hey, we're in business together and we need to level up? How do you approach those conversations?
First of all, I always like to keep civility. Depends on the nature of the conversation and the level of severity, what the problem was. But I normally all the guys know that if I say, hey, we need to go over here and talk. Like, normally when those words are said, it's friendship's out the door. It's just, we're business. What's going on? And then I approach it. I just say, look, here's the issue. Here's what came to my attention. Here's the problem. And why did this happen? At first, you never go in guns a-blazing. You never go in thinking the whole story, when you truly almost never do. So I say, hey, this is what I was told. This is this is the reason that this is happening. What's going on? And then I take it, and I run with the situation, basically. But what I always try to do is I always try to mold it into a learning experience. Basically, I like to say, yes, this happened, and no, this should not have happened. But why did it happen? What specific process can we do to avoid this happening again? How are you going to take steps to better yourself for this company? And I let them. The key is I let them do the talking. I don't grill them. I don't sit there and chew ass the whole time. I sit there. I ask the few questions I need to ask, and I let them kind of lead themselves down the path of their own problem, and then eventually to their own solution. Because most people, what's the worst thing you want to do in your career is get your ass chewed by somebody. And what's that do a lot of times is, if someone comes in and starts chewing ass, what are you going to do? You're going to start yelling back. And at some point, 4 people sitting there in a room yelling at each other, nothing's going to get done. Nothing's going to happen. All you're going to do is start throwing insults that don't mean anything. And someone's going to get their feelings hurt, or someone's going to get pissed off. And so, like I said, start small, start quiet, start respectful, and just, if you have to get stern when you have to, but have the sternness be stern and not anger. Don't yell if you don't have to, is my biggest thing.
No, that's huge.
But
no, yeah, and I think that's a great point. But I think too, and like something we should highlight, and sometimes you've mentioned to me that it can be somewhat of a pain point to overcome, is like your business acumen compared to your age. So how old are you right now, Hunter?
I am 22. I will be 23 in about a month.
Which is crazy, because like where you're at in your maturity as a business owner and your understanding of it with culture, handling a team, and also your clients, it's obviously spoke volumes with your repeat clientele business that you have. But traditionally you have issues with that. So I want to know, for how you handle those conversations, was that something that you learned through the business, or is it something that you learned before the business?
It was 100% through the business, to be honest with you. I just, like everybody else, was not perfect. I'm never gonna be perfect, but I was lost for a while. Something would go wrong, and I'd go pop a cap off on somebody, And I'd go chewing ass. I'd go yelling. And all it led was to more arguments, more people yelling, and more people unhappy. It never got anywhere. And so there was one day a couple of years ago that I sat down and I said, look, I'm just done. I refuse to start, conversations like this. I refuse to lead my team in that way. And once that happened, I made that kind of promise to myself that I'm just going to find a better way. I'm going to do better. And I did. And it just kind of, obviously trial and error, gonna start from point A to get to point B, but there might have been a couple steps along point A before you got to point B in that learning process. But eventually I figured out what works.
No, that's great. One thing that I've learned today that I never thought about before, but what I would ask you is like, can you tell the 5-minute story of how you ended up acquiring a world-class duck and goose property at 19 years old?
Yeah. So, first thing I should probably back up. Me and Justin, and Grant, and Sam, we all love finance. We all love investing. We all are very, very smart with our money, and we were just fortunate enough to have a nice amount of money between the four of us, just from work beforehand and everything, all of that. And we actually went to this property to lease it. The owners of the property, one of them actually worked with my mom, and we went up to her. Actually, I had my mom make the introduction. I said, "Hey, my son likes to duck hunt." This was before we were even guiding. My son likes to duck hunt. Is there any chance he could talk to you about paying you to hunt on your property? And granted, we knew it was a good property. We didn't know it was as like elite as it is back then. And she was like, "Oh yeah, maybe, come on. We have some family that hunts sometimes, but come on out, have him come on out. Let's talk." And we went and talked to him and tried to get a lease, and actually, it just didn't work out. And we went back to him when we decided to go guiding, like a year and a half later. We went back to him and said, "Hey, would you guys, have any chance you guys had a change of heart and would be willing to lease it to us now? We're hoping to start a business and whatever." And the wife jokingly looked at me and Grant and said, "Well, you just want to buy it instead?" And we were like, "Oh, okay, maybe, like, of course." And so she said, "Let me talk to my husband about it and see, like, because we said, yeah, we'd be interested in seriously looking at it and talking about it." And we started driving down this gravel road away back to the highway. And we got right as we got about to the highway, the wife called me and said, "Hey, can you turn around and come back?" And so we did. Turned around, went back. Sure enough, next thing you knew, we were in a side-by-side getting a full tour. And 2 weeks later, we entered into we sent in our first offer. And sure enough, after about a month or two of that process, offers accepted. And we were, like I said, because of our previous standard and finance and all of that, we were able to secure enough money to get the loan approved. And sure enough, we were able to lock it in. And like I said, we didn't even know how good of a property it was until we started going through the final processes of buying it. And when we were seeing all the pictures and the videos and hearing all the stories and everything, because that area is all refuge all around our land, and so no one hunts on the refuge, and no one talks about the hunting on that property, and no one really knew how many birds use that refuge because literally it's so big. There's just not that much. Like, you can't really see it all. You just don't know. And after the previous owner gave us all that information and everything, next thing we knew, we realized we were in the middle of some of the best duck hunting in the state of Nebraska.
And how pivotal has that property been for y'all?
Man, it's the best thing we've ever done. Like, first of all, there's nothing. I'm being from Nebraska. I've lived here my whole life. The Platte River, it has such a deep meaning to me in my life. And like the hunting, like, I grew up hunting on this river, and it's so sentimental. And to be able to walk out there and get on a sandbar and just look up and down, we own about a mile of river, to look up and down each way and just go, I own this, like, this is mine. And be able to say it's something that just, I can't even explain to you how good it makes you feel. And then hunting wise, man, like, we don't like to hunt it often because we like to keep it as fresh as we can. But that property has saved our ass so many times, I can't even tell you. Like, there's been a few times where we've literally, we've last second landowner cancels on us at 10 p.m. the night before the hunt, and we got to jet out to the Platte and hunt the Platte instead. And we go out and 8-man limit of mallards later. We're taken care of. Life's going on, and it's just like the first year we had I remember this so vividly. The first year we had the last two groups we had in, we hunted the Platte 5 days in a row, every single day, and every single day we shot an 8-man limit of mallards. One group hunted the Platte all 3 days in a row, and all 3 days they hunted it. We were done by 10, 40 green heads in the bag and out the door. And the other group wanted to shoot some goose the first day. It was the last 5 days of season, and we just burned that thing to the ground because season's over, And once we got to the end of that, that's how we knew. We were like, this place is special.
That's awesome.
Right.
And then, what were you going to say, Logan?
No, I was going to ask, just kind of thinking about your dream in general, where do you want to take this thing? Because I know y'all have gotten to talk about it a lot. And, I got to read kind of what Garrett had written up after y'all's conversation about you. But, where do you go with this thing? I mean, real estate, you definitely want to keep growing. You don't want to be stuck in the same place. What do you want it to be?
Man, I would say just we want to be the best. Like at the end of the day, when our company is at its peak, I want it to be looked at as if someone wants to go on a duck hunt, they're like, we need to go to these guys. And then I want people in the outfitter industry to be like, we want to be like those guys. Like we should be, in my opinion, if we can go the best we can, I'd like to have lodges, up and down the United States, Canada, and to be able to bring our experience, our culture, and everything we do to as many new places as we can to just give that much more of a take into the hunting industry. I mean, and another way, it's just bringing the corporate world into the hunting world, kind of connecting it both together, running a corporate style outfitting business, but in the hunting industry. That one of our biggest dreams is I shouldn't say taking over, but becoming the top.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's an something to definitely try to achieve, and I think y'all are very capable of doing that. And I think too, you have an advantage with your age and how you approach business in the first part, and the network that you're focused on growing. You have a huge opportunity to do something like that because you are financially knowledgeable, you're business knowledgeable, you understand culture in your business and maintaining it and growing it and expanding it. And you've been through the processes, the hard things like buying land. You've been through all the difficult stuff, and you're just 22 years old. And so you have a very bright future as long as you keep heading on this path and continue growing and learning, and like you've done in the past, just continue doing that. And I have got to see y'all do that from day one to now. And I mean, I don't see why you couldn't do it, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. I just don't get why you couldn't. But going back, I want to hear what some turning points were in your head, in your conversations on when y'all were like, hey, we can do this. Because I know there's a lot of young guys that are out there, they might guide for somebody else, or that, they see everything on social media. They have this dream of I don't want to work, the 9 to 5 office. I want to be a guide. I want to do this, that. I want to hear when y'all decided y'all were going to do that and take this on. What was that point that just clicked for you in your head?
For me, the day that we truly knew was the day we signed the papers to buy the land. We obviously got to get all dressed up and go down to the bank and go to the property and do all the signing. And after it was all said and done, I was 20 years old when that happened. I wasn't even old enough to drink yet. And, but so we all were sitting there talking, and afterwards we all just, by the fire, just all relaxing, and said, well, I guess we better figure it out. No, and for real though, we basically, it all came together as, we no one, you don't know a lot of outfitters that have 4 owners, or 4 upfront owners that aren't, in the dark in the back, but it takes them to do what we want to do. We're not a huge company. If you follow the corporate company structure, we have too many owners and too many employees, right? But for what we do. But that's not the case. See, we're different because we can't provide the experience we want without every single one of our guys and employees and owners working for us. We can't control the land the way we do. We can't take care of everybody the way we're supposed to. I mean, you can't have this culture, this experience. You can't have Whiskey Sloughs without all of us. And so it came down to that point where we were like, this is it, and can't stop, won't stop, keep going mentality, and just keep going forward. Basically, take it a day at a time, and shoot for the sky and hope you land on a mountain.
Yeah, that's great. One question that's just in my mind since we started talking about the business side of outfitting, why is it that a lot of outfitters, I'd argue to say most outfitters, struggle to understand that they're running a business and that the business should come first and the hunting comes second, but ultimately they're intertwined, right? So, like, how do
Yes, sir.
you and what do you see from your experience? Like, what did you learn along the way?
It's about how you handle your clients. Like some of our best repeat clients, like one that sticks out tremendously to me. They came in 2 years ago. The hunting was horrible. I mean, it was cold as can be. All the mallards were sticking to the sloughs. The geese were feeding it anywhere from 11 to 4 o'clock. I mean, it was horrible. There was no snow geese around, and you couldn't. There was no consistency, no patterns, and they shot. And their 3 days, they maybe shot 20 birds, maybe even only 15 birds. I mean, it was extremely tough hunting. But when the hunting got tough, we took the steps to ratify it in other ways. I brought in a dessert kit, and I flambéed crepes. I did like a flambéed orange. I forget what it was even called, like orange sauce and flambéed crepes at the table, like right next to the table while they were having dinner. And like we went ahead and we took them out to a nicer restaurant for lunch instead of making them more of our traditional lunches. And we stayed around and played pool for hours. I mean, I was there till 2 a.m. playing pool with these guys, and we had to go hunting at 5. Like, just stepped up that experience one step further than other outfitters. And what clients really love is they love to feel like they left with friends. They don't want to feel like they left an outfitter with guides. They want to feel like they left with all of you guys being friends, because then when they come back, they're just getting to see their friends again. And maintaining that friendship, creating those relationships, doing all of that in and of itself, along with just going the extra mile, it can take obsolete hunting and still turn it into a rebooking.
Yeah, I mean, that is the epitome to me of why you've been successful. I mean, it just makes sense in my mind.
It is.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and I think too, like something to talk about on the business side is how you're getting these people in. You're so young. You're a newer outfit, and it's not like last year y'all didn't have that many books filled. Like you said, every day you're running books, and last year was what, season 3 for you?
Yeah, it's season 2 technically for our main packages. Yeah,
makes it even better. Season 2, and you have books that are full, stout, and now you have repeat clients.
Top to bottom. Yeah.
So I want to hear on how y'all went about doing that, what your approach was to filling your books up. How were you getting these people to come in and hunt at Whiskey Sloughs when you're not that brand that's been around for 5 to 10 years, but yet you are dominating and filling up your books?
So each client's a different client. Like last year, we run Facebook ads. That's where a majority of our business comes from that aren't repeat clients. Word of mouth's really starting to take over Facebook ads too. But anyways, run the Facebook ads, and we have 5,000-7,000 phone numbers we could call, and we call these phone numbers, and each client's a different client. So what we would do is we would find their want, find their niche, see what they need. And, some clients, honestly, to tell you the truth, some clients, first thing they start doing is they start complaining about bad experiences at other outfitters. And you can go, okay, well, let me tell you what you're not going to do here. Let me tell you why we're different. And the reason that we're able to be so successful is because every single one of our guys who's calling those people, we share the same passion of doing the absolute best for our clients. And when you have that passion and you speak with that kind of compassion and you really push all of that forward on the client, they aren't going to think you're feeding them a load of shit. They're going to believe you because it's true. It is literally, it's in our hearts of this is what we do. And that honestly is like, that's the game changer, is having that kind of compassion, having it so shown, finding that niche and saying, look, this is why we're better than everybody else. This is why we're going to be the best. This is why you want to get in with us now while we start going up. And it works, obviously, as the results have shown. But you got to have that passion.
No, that is something that I've learned through experience as well. And I like to condense it down into, speak with conviction, don't convince, right? And it works on anybody you're trying to get to do anything, whether it be invest in a company, do a particular job at a company, essentially throughout all aspects of the business. If you're trying to convince someone to do something, they don't get why. Like they don't get the why. They don't get why you're talking about it like that, and they just think you're trying to sell them something that ain't real and that you don't believe in. They're gone, right? And so that's just so cool to hear you say that. But it makes sense. Like y'all all have an ownership in the business. It makes sense, and
the other thing too is our guys, we all wear our hearts on our sleeves. Like we will show you that we care, even from the first phone call to the last time you see us before you leave our lodge. We are going to show you that we care about you, all the way down to those little experiences of your group. They, just like our employees, everything matters.
I think that's like, the starting and the building of like your brand and leading with your why. They bring up why, they're looking to hunt at a new outfitter. It's bad experiences. It's the destination, but you're also tying in like that deeper meaning. It's the friendship. It's the, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to take care of you. And I'm here to like, it's something that they can connect to and feel. And I think that that's something all the successful businesses do, all the way up to the really big corporate world where you're talking about Yeti, Begonia, Sitka, stuff like that, where they truly, their why is a shared why with the same person that's trying to come and be their customer. And so it creates a bond that is something that, lasts for a very long time. And I think it, like you just said, that our word of mouth is starting to grow and overtake our paid ads. That happens because y'all have a shared why and they've had a great experience there, but there's that deeper connection as well. And so I think over the next several years, you're going to see that keep going. And that's why I think, like, when I say like you can be super successful, like Whiskey Sloughs can, it's because of that. You see your word of mouth start growing beyond like your paid ads. That's when you know, like, okay, I got something going. The switch is flipping, and I'm going to be able to reinvest in my business because I'm not going to be able to put all these people in this lodge every single year. Go get another lodge. I'm going to have to move people into that lodge now, and then you're just going to continue that cycle and that flow. But I want to go back to your goals that we were talking about earlier. Me and you had the opportunity to sit down and talk about your vivid vision and where y'all are headed and like painting that picture for your team. And I know we're still working on that, but I want to get more specific about what your goals are. I know you want it to be that corporate, but I want to hear like the day to day, what you're working towards. How many lodges are you going for?
I if I had to give an exact number, I'd probably say anywhere from 5 to 10. Exactly, I wouldn't be able to give you like one number. Here's the thing: what we want at the end of the day, we know that our company is going to always uphold these same core values and these same goals, and we want to be able to have clients that enter our business group. They enter our business group and they don't have to go to any other outfitter. They can say, all right, well, I want to hunt Arkansas. I'll go with Whiskey Sloughs to Arkansas. All right, I want to hunt Texas. All right, I'll go with them to Texas. And I'll go to Oklahoma, and then I'll go to Kansas and North Dakota and Canada and all these places. that we have our own outfitters set up where they're going to get the same exact experience, the same exact treatment, and all that's going to be the exact same. And they don't got to go nowhere else. We're a one-stop shop for the best experience you can get in guide service. That's like the end goal. I know we're talking day to day, but
no, I think that's a great end goal, and I think it's very very possible for you guys.
But every day, man, we're just looking to get better. Biggest thing is you can never stop learning, you can never stop improving, and you're never at the top. I mean, you always can do better.
Mm-hmm. And that's how people get to the top. I mean, ultimately, because I saw something the other day. It's like, if you strive to be the best, that's great and all. But if you just get 1% better every day, you'll eventually be the best. And you'll look back and be like, well, what did I do right? It's like, you just got better, right? You just got better each day. And that 1% difference it makes over time is huge. And, I just say this is like, it's been a pleasure to watch the growth. I mean, I say this not lightly. Whiskey Sloughs at one point left Mallard Bay when Mallard Bay was just a marketplace and went to another competitor of ours, and then came back after we had GuideTech. And to me, to see it go from what that was and failure on our part to kind of just a really great overall relationship, to the point where of course you're coming be our expert guide on the GuideTech podcast, because I don't want to speak term here, right? And I think that's an important element to the whole process. So I just thank you for having us along the journey, because it's been fun as hell, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you guys got to give yourself some credit here. You guys do a fantastic job. I mean, coming back to Mallard Bay and GuideTech and getting in with your guys' program, it has been monumental, the difference. You guys, everything you guys are able to do for us, it just makes my life, especially me, it makes my life so much easier. Having the ability to go through and use all the different programs and tools and widgets and all the organization that you get on the GuideTech calendar, and being able to see all the raw data, all these numbers, all these day to day, be able to have someone manage your paid ads, especially that, an expert like Nick and his team, people who can do that kind of a job. I mean, it's unbeatable, really. Like I would urge anybody who's even thinking about it, it's something you got to do. I mean, look, to get where we were, we wouldn't be there without these guys. I mean, let's just be real here.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the friendship that we've built along the way with you. And like, honestly, like, this is what we live for. This is like why we come in every single morning. Like, it is to do exactly what you just said. It's to make an impact. It's to change the hunting and fishing industry as a whole and how it's done. And I think y'all are doing the same thing. And I think, again, that's like that why that we share. Like, y'all are trying to change the hunting industry, the guide service industry as a whole. And we're over here just trying to support and go along with you along the way and just hear how we can do that stuff. And you've been great with feedback. And then just your business acumen, again, like just understanding what we're doing and where we're going and willingness to learn. But yeah, it's been great. I've enjoyed the journey. I think for us on this episode number 11, we could wrap it. I don't want to go too deep into too many details with stuff that you do to run your business. I think as we go throughout these podcasts, we're going to talk about different topics. We're going to get insight from an outfitter, and it's going to be so much better with the tips and tricks where you are in the day-to-day, in the field, outside of the field, in the office running it. And I think it's going to be something that's impactful for outfitters, and that's like what the overall goal is here to do. So, Hunter, I did want you to get a second to kind of just tell people where they can find y'all and get in contact with y'all. Whether they're looking to hunt or it's another outfitter that maybe just wants to talk to you, dude. Like just wants to talk about some ideas. You just kind of mentor them on something.
Yeah, I mean, we're on our socials, Instagram, Facebook. We're at Whiskey Sloughs. If you want to talk to any of us about booking a hunt or getting any advice or anything, you start by calling Grant at 308-224-7289. Our website is whiskeysloughs.com. And if you want to send us an email, it's info@whiskeysloughs.com. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions or help anybody along the way. So you kind of highlighted it there, Garrett, with everything. Is the reason I'm doing this is we want to help everybody. I mean, if all the outfitters want to do great things and be in a way kind of like we are, like we think the best outfitters are, it's going to just bring the outfitting world up in a whole. It's going to make everything better, and it's going to make it to where, the clients are overall having a better experience, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to hear how upsetting an experience was for a client, and how much, some people, it ruins it for them, and it can ruin hunting and stuff like that. And something we just never want to see.
Definitely. No, I think you said that great. Logan, any last words before we sign off here?
No, just thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you, guys.
No, it's been super insightful. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to share it on all the platforms, subscribe to it, or like it, whatever you do on all the different podcast platforms. And we'll see you next time on the GuideTech podcast.